Good morning. The sacrifice. In Arabic, when you speak about the sacrifice, we say it is as if a person wants to approach someone. He has the desire to approach, to satisfy, to please. It is as if he is waiting for someone to validate something from him. The first sacrifice happened in this existence was between Cain and Abel. Another sacrifice, in other words, sacrifice usually is, to slaughter an animal. Maybe the second, we don't say the second, it is just mentioned the way it is mentioned about Abraham slaughtering his son. So it is an approach. The first sacrifice, as I said earlier, is between Cain and Abel. God described them. He said to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, tell them the story, tell them the truth. He said the truth about the story about the sons of Adam. Why you say the truth? Because a lot of lies were fabricated before by people of the book. They couldn't understand the causes of that homicide, fratricide. They started fabricating stories, and then here God said to the Prophet, tell them the truth about the children, or I should say the sons of Adam. Tell them the truth. And then he said, all of a sudden when they gave a sacrifice, the sacrifice, I said, see, it's an approach. وَاتْلُ عَلَيْهِمْ نَبَأَ بْنَيِّ آدَمَ بِالْحَقِّ إِذْ قَرَّبَا قُرْبَانًا. He said, إذ in Arabic is a sudden, all of a sudden, hey, from nowhere. This kind of decision, it's not that day. There were certain things preceding that, of course. Something. What was that for a person to come one day and to give a sacrifice? I want to prove myself. These are facts in life. This is a story. You read it as a story, as an event. But this event is showing what are facts in human being, in the human being's nature, intuition to look for someone, to please, to sacrifice something for the sake of someone. These are facts very normal. It's like hunger in human being. It's like thirst in human being. It's very normal. Normal to know where to direct this sacrifice, where to orient it, or for the sake of who you want to do or make this sacrifice. It's a very short words in the verse say, إِذْ قَرَّبَا قُرْبَانًا. He said it was accepted from one of them and it was not accepted from the other. When you use the passive voice, in grammar, you would use a passive voice when you ignore the subject. Yes, or it is not important. We don't know who robbed the bank. The bank was robbed. She was promoted. That's not necessary who promoted her. In this case, it's a curiosity for you to understand. If God had said, I have accepted from one of them and I refused, or I haven't accepted it from the other, the responsibility or the fact of acceptance, non-acceptance rely on God. God forbid. It was each one's responsibility for this acceptance. We shall see that. That's why he put it in a passive voice. It was accepted from one of them, it wasn't accepted from the other. You give to God, you sacrifice. General, you want to slaughter a camel, or you want to slaughter a bull, a calf, baby bull, a lamb, a chicken. You want to give one egg to God. Why do you think God will refuse it? Up to you, give whatever you want. If you want to give a penny, hey, I'm not going to give anything. I'm going to give a smile. It's accepted. I'm going to give a nice word. It's accepted. As long as it is directed to God, for the sake of God. What is the link? Why he killed his brother? This is the verse. He said, فَتُقُبِّلَ مِنْ أَحَدِهِمَا وَلَمْ يُتَقَبَّلْ مِنَ الْآخَرِ قَالَ لَأَقْتُلَنَّكَ. You know, we're going to go, we scrutinize as what they do in criminology. In criminology, beside studying these and this, you know, things, superficial things, they go deep into the person's psyche up to the point, I'm talking about deep criminology, they study, they say there is certain degree of sacredness. That's why a person goes to this kind of like serial killer or whatever. You know, get to self-absorbed, he lives in his own world of solipsism, that's it. It's not about him, it's me. It's kind of like he doesn't see anything else beside himself. And that's the biggest danger. And this is what we are living today in the world. Why this story? God is giving you the story that is repeatedly. There is a reenactment of this story inside you. The Cain and Abel are existing inside us. Cain and Abel inside us. Moses is inside us. Jesus is inside us. Every prophet is inside us. That even with people. You know what I'm saying? These are the reenactment. It's up to you to choose on which side you are. What is the link between this fratricide killing his brother? The day of the event, of the proof. This person shows you what he was doing along the course of his life, you know, previous in his career before, and this one as well. You know, in this person, the sacrifice was directed to God. The gesture is to God. God would welcome it. It's to God. Now, if a person is giving a gesture to someone else, do you think God will hand his hand? He gave it to someone else. He didn't give it to God. This is, you know, we're just giving some example. It's not appropriate, but just to explain. The gesture was not to God. To whom did he give it? This person. He gave it to himself. What shows that when a person is living, being self-absorbed in his life, automatically, quickly, the appearance of opponent will be in front of him. That's what it is. Because this uniform, it's not his. The self-aggrandizement, it belongs to God. The glory belongs to God. All of a sudden, if a person is like this, adversaries will be in front of him, opponent and then enemies. This person, his life was showing you that his life, which is the case today, to defy. To defy someone, when you live a life like this, you don't develop the me. You develop, as they call it in psychology, the super ego. There's another existence inside, extrinsic. To defy. To defy. Do you see that? It has nothing to do with what happened in the external objective world. Is this what happened in their psychic world? This person felt the harmony, the one that his gesture or his sacrifice was accepted. The other one, it wasn't distanced from himself. It shows you, even God showed them that it was accepted from one of them. The other one, no, felt it. But why killing? The first thing that crosses his mind. Death was inside him. This state of melancholy, anxiety was inside him, couldn't find. Now, to show you that, It is the self killing the self. Externalized. This kind of combat, this kind of like hand wrestling within the self, he did not accept it. He did not repent to accept it. He externalized it against otherness. He killed his brother. It shows you later on when God sent him the crow, an animal, start digging the ground to show him how to bury his brother. He said, how can that be? How can that be? That's an animal like this one knows better than me. It's like, to define then it was shifted even to an animal. It's like showing his self-aggrandizement. How come I ignored such a thing to know how to bury my brother? Anyway, living, being self-absorbed, not to give the credit to surrender with humility, as this one who was killed, he wasn't killed, he was killed in the world, but he gained eternity. The other one, he is in extreme, he is living with death during his life and after he left this life. Understand what the world is suffering today. Human being feels so glorious with the self-vanity. Not to show his humility to God. As by the time he gets some credits, faculties, whatever, he claims, me. All of a sudden, he will be punished by himself. Nobody's punishing him. Adversaries, the same thing it happened to the father, or I should say the teacher, Mr. Lucifer. He was glorifying the self, that's tasbih, subhani. He didn't say subhanallah, because you say subhanallah, you lower. You exterminate yourself for the sake of the one that you have devoted yourself to. Me. He was looking for Adam before Adam's appearance. He was searching for an adversary. By the time he saw him, he said, I'm not going to prostrate my head to the one that you created from clay. I was created from fire. It shows you how, Cain and Abel, this story, it happens, what is going on these days. It's a story. It's a myth. What are you talking about? All these wars, no one wants to back up because it's driven by compulsions. Nobody can back up, nobody. The world is on the verge of blowing up, of collapse, like spark. Look at that. Human being carries the frequency of one of these, the person who killed. That's the frequency that is dominating the world today. You count them with your finger. It has nothing to do with the Muslim or Christians. You find them with your finger, those who are going down and they fear. The frequency of Cain, the one who killed his brother. This is getting an extension. The sacrifice. When this person, the one on the right, I know you don't see the right, you see the left because the camera is, I don't know. It shows you his life was praying to the Creator. The day when he gave the sacrifice to God, it's an approach. To approach to whom? I'm going to take a small example. Rubber like this. The Prophet said, you worship God as if you see Him. If you cannot see Him, make sure that He sees you. So the first one is to obtain, to reach. There is no such an idolatry in front of you. There is no such a tree. There is no such a thing. There is no Poseidon, the god of the ocean. There is no Jupiter. There is no Athena, is God. So look at that, the dimension. It goes, I'm putting a rubber. It goes to infinity. Where is it? You're navigating with your emotions, not with your body. The sacrifice goes to God. It keeps going. That expansion, expansion, that's expansion, is inside your heart. You feel harmony. That's the secret between you and the Creator. You devoted yourself to the oneness of God. It gives you your unicity. Nobody looks like you. Don't worry. Inner beauty, outer beauty, don't worry. This, look at the sacrifice, for God's sake. The other one who killed, he took money from pocket to put it, from right pocket to put it in the left pocket. Where is this dimension? What are you talking about? There's no such a thing, doesn't go. Me, from me to me. He lives to the glory of the self. This modern psychology, it promotes anxiety. It promotes melancholy. And it gives you the pills to tranquilize, as a tranquilizer, to make you feel comfortable. To send you OTC, over-the-counter remedies. This is some modern psychology. From the kid early age, he is encouraged about this self-esteem. Yet, he is living confronted by life, by this particular event. As it is between Cain and Abel. He doesn't know why. The word self-esteem is a confidence that is resulted the truth of with the self-esteem. There's no word self-esteem. There is something, you feel it, that it gives you confidence because you're living the truth, you're not simulating. It gives you certain confidence in life when you don't lie, when you don't live simulation, when you don't pretend, when you don't miss the rendezvous appointment, when you speak, you don't add and exaggerate when you describe something the way we are. We create insecurity. That's self-esteem, and then self-esteem. It gives you confidence. You feel it. You don't need to exaggerate about that. That's the self-esteem. It comes up by itself. Now, history. We travel beyond time and space. Now we go to Abraham. These days we are going to celebrate, we call it the biggest holiday, or as they call it, Eid al-Adha. Abraham, peace be upon him. Abraham was between two generations, the previous generation and the next generation. Previous generation was a polytheism. Polytheism is associating someone with God. His father, or the polytheist. What does it mean? Fashioning something, they envisage, they visualize perfection, and they externalize it with idolatry. Even if they worship Poseidon, even if they worship the sun, even if they worship, it's always a black in the conscience. What they do, the emotions, primordially speaking, the emotions, they belong to the Creator. They navigate beyond time and space, out of these galaxies. If you go that far to go to the sun one day, it will melt, that's it. Your emotions will melt with it. You want to worship Poseidon, the god of the oceans. One day they will disappear, and you know that. The cataclysm will happen. You will disappear with it. So you are in a process of mummification all the time without realizing it. Your effort is to maintain the mummy that is in a person's subconscious. In contrast, when you say the Creator, that's the eternity. The Prophet ﷺ say, do not curse the eternity. In Arabic you say ad-dar. لا تسبوا الدار فإن الدار هو الله. I will say Allah هو الدار. Say God is the eternity. Do not say what is kind of age or generation. The time, the eternity belongs to God. Now, His father was a polytheist. Polytheism, this kind of like rigidity, the labyrinth that is created by the parenthood, which is today, the reenactment of the Abrahamite event. Traditions, customs, nationalism, and keep going, all of these. That was rigidifying the mentality, the psyche of the previous generation. Abraham liquefied it and evaporated it. There is something as a solid came with his conscience, he became liquid and evaporated to H2O. Doesn't exist. That's it. Gently. You hear the word in a modern society, say conflict of generation. We're going to see this. Put it aside. He was polite with his father. Ya abati. You see, if you speak Arabic, ya abati is a very soft word. Say, yo, who cares? Don't talk to me. I do whatever I want. This is my generation because you people, you are old people. Huh? It was gently. What did he do to his son? He took something, he implanted it, gave an extension to his children. Shall we go to the details? It's a beautiful story anyway. You know, he left his wife in the middle of a desert with a baby. Abraham, is this your decision or is God's decision? He told her it's God's decision. She accepted it. We don't know. The state of uncertainty, you enter it with your intention with the Creator. The state of uncertainty in the future, you can manipulate it by your good intention, husn dhann. She said, if God said it, that's fine, you know, I'm not going to leave a woman by herself. Going back and forth. Safa, Marwa, Safa. I don't know if you have experienced it. Air conditioning today, with all these like fans, super sophisticated, you get tired. You go back and forth, you are sheltered, not exposed to the sun. But she was with her baby, back and forth. At the end, she gave up. Sit down. أَمَّنْ يُجِيبُ الْمُضْطَرَّ إِذَا دَعَاهُ وَيَكْشِفُ السُّوءَ أَإِلَهٌ مَعَ اللَّهِ. The baby desperately is gonna die. She's gonna die in the middle of a desert, yo. He started digging, playing, whatever, and then he touched something. She realized something was wet, and then she said, Zem, Zem, you know the word, encore, again and again. Because of a baby, that town became the richest town in the world. Because of a baby sacrifice, that country is the richest country in the world. Not a joke. Mecca, the budget of Mecca is the budget of the world. Only. Now when you speak about the whole country, you know what I'm saying. So this son, his father told him, my son, I've been seeing myself, I've been dreaming that I am slaughtering you. There's no such a thing that God asked Abraham to slaughter his son. There's no such a verse in the Quran. Ask you to kill, you know what I'm saying? There's no such a thing like this. I've been seeing myself, and the prophet's dreams are a prophecies, not like us, you know, in front of the TV and eating. Then my dream, and I dreamt that I am, and I am. These are nightmares, maybe. I'm not saying everybody, but most of the time. So, what did he say, his son? He said, oh, Father, do what you've been told, what you've been instructed to do. Then, at the moment when he took, you know, the knife, according to some records. The knife went back and forth, didn't leave even a mark here. Nothing. Then God, the angel Gabriel came and gave him a sheep. But what God told him, Ya Ibrahim, لقد صدقت قد صدقت الرؤيا. He said, you have slaughtered already. Don't use this, that's it. You have confirmed the conformity. When did he slaughter? Be careful. Huh? You read some interpretations. I don't say they are wrong. No, astaghfirullah. But they have certain from their own perspective. Look at it from your own. He said you have confirm, F-I, the conformity. F-O. When did he slaughter? He was slaughtering himself by not implanting the polytheism that he had inherited. He didn't inherit that. He didn't let the polytheism, he didn't let the traditions, traditions, nationalism to implant them in the son. The real slaughter is slaughtering the self the whole year. That day told him, you have done that along the 365, 64 days a year. You have been slaughtering Abraham. You don't need to do this. Then the knife that was on the Ishmael, as they call him in Latin, that knife was on the ship God gave him. So today the Muslim celebrate this, but along the year he is slaughtering his kids without realizing. Getting back to Abraham's mission. Abraham's mission is stopping the polytheism with what is derived from that. Then he said, my son, my sons, make sure when you die, don't die with any identity. How can you die without an identity? Make sure. Can we be responsible how I die? That's the end. The last drop that caused the overflow of the vase, that's not the last drop that caused the overflow of the vase. You have worked for the whole life. لا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. You are vulnerable to collect identities, idolatric institutionalization of the emotions with the idolatry. You are vulnerable, exposed all the time. Your role is they are all inside you, and you remove, you destroy the idolatry, you destroy to get to the oneness of God without an identity. That's the last epitome will be when you die without an identity. People say they are Muslims. The word Muslim is not a correct word actually, because people are taking the word the way it is. Submissiveness is no identity. You live, you die like a water. Then you're going to see the vastness of paradise that was previously in your mind. Listen, thank you for sharing. Happy holiday to everybody.